Welcome again, everyone. Today's webinar is titled Passport Data Upload via the Genesys Uploader tool. A lot of you who are joining us today are recent partners to Genesys, but also a few of you are have been partners for a long time. So the purpose of this webinar today is to introduce you to the Uploader tool if you are a new partner, and to refresh your knowledge about this tool if you are an existing partner who is already familiar with it. This will be a step-by-step demonstration. We will start first by downloading the Genesys Uploader in its latest version, version 2.2. So if you are a partner who already has the uploader, please make sure that you are using the latest version. And if you are a new partner, then this demonstration will help you install it and get started with this tool. Then after installing, we will authenticate via an account that we will all be using simultaneously. And we will upload a test data sample just to get you familiar with how the tool interacts with an Excel file that you would like to upload. All of these uploads be done through our test environment. Nothing is going to be uploaded to the official Genesys website. So don't worry about making any mistakes or clicking the wrong button. I have sent you an email. Wait, I will share my screen. You should have received a link to this uploader tool where you can download the PDF, the user manual, and the tool itself. You should have also received the username and password to the account through which you will authenticate to this tool. We will see how we do that later. You should have also received a PDF of the user manual of the uploader tool in its latest version, 2.2, and the test sample file of passport data. It's just very basic passport data in MCPD format, mostly in order to upload it through the tool. So if any of you hasn't received this, please let me know and I will send it to you during this webinar. So if you click on this link, Genesys-content-about uploader, you will be redirected to the page in Genesys that has a compilation of all the releases of the uploader tool in all of its versions, and starting with the current release 2.2. You will see many links. You only need to download 2 out of these. The first one is the user manual in PDF, but I already sent it to you in an email. You can also download it from here. And one of those 4 remaining links would apply to your case. So if you are using, your computer is using a Windows operating system, then please download the first one, Mac or Linux. So please make sure you download the one that applies to your computer. In my case, I am using the Mac OS M1, M2. Maybe you might be using Windows or Linux or Intel. So please make sure you download the correct one. And when you download the PDF, then you would be redirected to a 20-page user manual that starts with an introduction to this tool. Some of you might be familiar with the tool being called Anno or Genesys Magic or the uploader tool. It's all the same one. So it guides you through the installation, troubleshooting, how to create your workspaces, how to use them, etc. how to link to some data sources, how to map to MCPD, and how to push data, so to upload your data and to troubleshoot some issues. So this is really the step-by-step guide for you to use, but we will be demonstrating some of these steps briefly, not all of them, of course, today in the next hour. You had an error that your Windows protected your PC and prevented an unrecognized app from starting. Running this app might put your PC at risk. Maybe this is an IT configuration at your institution. I see that it has already worked out. Please let us know if you're still facing the same issue or if it worked out. Afolabi, I see that you typed in the chat that it's all downloaded. Please let us know what's your status now. Actually, I will unmute all participants, so you guys can feel free to unmute yourselves. You can now unmute yourselves and speak and let us know what your experience. Hi, y'all.
Hi. I'm also experiencing the same thing. Extracting files can cause something to be harmful to my PC. That's what I'm experiencing. So it's not really running.
Okay. Can you please share your screen? I will give you the permission to do so in a minute, and I will stop sharing mine. Do you read in this dialog box? There's a text saying more info underlined.
Yes.
Click on it. Yeah.
Yeah. So another one
And
you
then,
have. Okay.
Please click run anyway.
Right.
Yes. Okay. I can still see your folder that has Genesys Uploader, so I'm not sure if it worked on your side or not.
Right. Possibly it's running. I'm not too sure. Maybe it takes time. I don't know.
Yes. Okay, let's see how it goes.
Yeah, there's an icon with 2 feet in your toolbar. Click that.
All right, I've seen that. So can you see it?
Yeah, so everybody's seeing this thing. Okay.
Yeah, could not find Java. GRE 111.
Yeah. So can you tell us what Windows version this is? Can you just check the Windows version?
Right.
Matija, that's the problem I'm having too.
Feet icon. We do apparently require you to download this from the URL. So if you can copy that URL, https I think you should be able to select that text or not. No? If not, I'm gonna just share that link in the chat. So
no, if you click, Matija, if you click OK, it will take you to the link.
Oh, okay, then click OK.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So we do apparently need this one. So click decline and scroll down a little bit. Right. So pick in the selection you have operating system. Pick your Windows, or actually just scroll down. You can pick Windows, and it's that's the best option. All right. So we are looking for the on top. In the first section. So in the top part, Windows x64, and then the JRE of all the 4. You have 4 options there in the first category. Yeah. So take the MSI, the third one that says JRE MSI. Take that one.
This one, JRE, is a 31.
Yeah. Take that one. And you don't, the download should start in the background. I think if you close your, if you close that restore pages thing, it's already downloading on top in your downloads.
Right.
On
So
top, there's a download icon. You can see it there. Yeah, downloads. And under downloads, you should now see the JRE.
right. Okay.
Oh, it is apparently getting there. Or is that done? It's unclear.
It's almost.
It says 30 of 30, so we should be
Yeah.
there. Okay, so once that's done, then run this and let us know if that works for you.
Also, okay, this is how I start mine. It's already here in the doc. So here you are instructed to select a workspace directory where your configuration and databases are stored. This should be an empty folder that you start this tool, that you launch this tool with. You can create this folder anywhere, like for example here on your desktop, and title it Genesys workspace. Right here, Genesys workspace. So create a folder make sure it's empty, and then browse and select this folder. In my case, it's the Genesys workspace from my desktop. So I selected this folder here, and I will press OK. And this should start this, again, I go back to the tool. And also from this email that I sent you, you should have received this Excel data sample that is already mapped in MCPD. So I ask you then to please open this Excel file, and you will be seeing 3 separate sheets because we would try this upload 3 times. The first one, we will try adding data from scratch. In the second one, we will update some information about this data that we already added. In this case, we will update the geographic coordinates. In the second trial of this upload, we will update the genus and species name for those same accessions. And we will show you how you can delete data that you already uploaded. Sometimes you want to remove some information. Sometimes this happens accidentally. So just to demonstrate the erasing, updating, and adding. Before proceeding, you have to know that we are all using the same account. So we are all using the same institute code. We all have the same file, but in Genesys, for the same institute code, we cannot upload the same accession number that's in general as a rule of thumb. There might be some exceptions, but that's the good practice. So in order for each and every one of us who are using the same file and the same institute code, in order for us to be able to upload so that we are not all using the same accession numbers, I ask you please to only modify this column in this Excel file that is titled accession prefix. You see here a little note in red asking you to please either add your name here or your initials. Like I will add my initials, that's CR, and press enter. And you see automatically here the accession number has added my initials to it. So in your case, for example, if it's Grace, then the accession number will be titled Grace. So this is for two reasons. This is for you to be able to check that your accessions have been uploaded, and also for the upload to be possible, because we cannot all be using the same numbers. Genesys will not allow that. So in my case, I will write Christelle Rabil, or maybe Christelle R. And I want to drag this across all the yellow cells so that all of these accession numbers are automatically updated with my prefix, which is my name. In your case, it would be another prefix, so you will have different accession numbers. And this is also going to be the same automatically across the two remaining sheets. So please don't modify anything other than this column B, accession prefix, in the sheet titled adding. Only this one here. Don't change anything else. And then click Control Save or save this. Make sure it's saved so that you don't use the initial numbers on the data sample. I will wait a minute or two. If anyone is wants me to repeat this step or is unclear, please type this in the chat. So I'll wait a bit before proceeding, because the next step would be to load this Excel file into the uploader tool. So please rename this with your name, not Christelle R. And click File, Save. That's the more important step. So I see nothing in the chat. I'm going to proceed by going back to the uploader tool. And you see here, you have this box icon that is titled Add File. So I'm going to add my Excel file to this tool by clicking Add File, going to where my document is. It's in Downloads. I'm going to try finding it. Here, and I'm going to open. And you see here, this is my Excel file. So I have the file here, and you see this little arrow next to the box icon over here. You click on this arrow button, and you will see the three separate sheets that I told you about. Those sheets are existing in my Excel. We will start with the first sheet to demonstrate how to add data from scratch. Later on, we will load this sheet to demonstrate how to update the data that we already added. And the final step, we will update and also show you how to erase this data. So in order to launch the sheet that is titled adding, I click on it and then I double click. So I double click here on this sheet titled adding, and you see this tab here opened with the data inside this sheet. Okay. Now what do? The most important step is that we want to link these columns, inst code, accession number, etc., genus, species, biological status. We want to link them to the descriptors, the MCPD descriptors that you see here on the right-hand side. You see those here. We want to link those. So first, I will show you how you can do it manually and also automatically. So I want to link the institute codes here to inst code over here, to the institute code descriptor of the MCPD. By the way, if you click here on the descriptor column, you will reorder those descriptors here. You will reorder them alphabetically, so you can easily scroll to the letter I. So now I selected the inst code now I found the inst code descriptor. I want to select here the inst code column in my data in the sheet here. You see it's brown colored, and I will click on the inst code descriptor in the blue and then drag to the RDF term. Just click and drag here. And you see now it's green, which means that this column now is mapped. And if you want to know what it is mapped to, you can click on it on the title, and then you will see the RDF term that it's linked to, that is here, RDF URL. You can see the URL over here. Institution code or inst code. Okay, I will demonstrate with another column, genus. So I will scroll to the letter G. I will click here on genus as an MCPD term. This is the genus term. So then I will make sure that genus here is selected in brown. Then I will drag this MCPD term and drop it here in the RDF term. This will drop the URL, or you can just copy paste the URL, but clicking and dragging should also work. And then you see here that the column of genus names has turned green. I see in the chat to please repeat the dragging part. Yes, of course. I will try it again with species. So I want to map species. I select the species column and I scroll here down to the species descriptor. If your descriptors are not ordered alphabetically, you can just simply click here to reorder them alphabetically. So now I did that. I will scroll down to the letter S. And you see here, I have the species descriptor that I can click on it after making sure that the species column here is selected in brown. I just click on the species descriptor here and move the mouse to drag it to the RDF term, and this turns green. I will actually do it with acquisition date also. So those terms that you see here, the column names and the Excel file, most of them, with the exception of biological status and genus, the rest is in MCPD format. And we covered the MCPD mapping of passport data last year. You can find these recordings also on YouTube. I will share them with you after this webinar also. But we go in detail on how to map your data to MCPD. So if your file is already mapped to MCPD, instead of doing this manual clicking and dragging, you can click on this button here in the tool that you see called Auto Map. So if you click on it, you see that the rest of the columns have turned blue. This means that the Genesys uploader tool has automatically mapped your columns to the MCPD here. That's why they're in blue. Why? Because it picked up on the column title that is already in MCPD. For example, status in the MLS is already matching the MCPD descriptor here, MLS stat. In this case, the auto map will work. However, biological status is not in the MCPD format. Genus also is not in the MCPD format, but I did the mapping manually, but biological status did not get mapped automatically using the automap because it's not, the title of the column is not in MCPD format. In this case, the MCPD format of biological status, the column title should be here, stamp stat. So if I notice that this column has accidentally not been mapped, I just click on it. I click on biological status, the column turns brown. Then I click on SAMP stat. I already know the MCPD title for biological status, that it's SAMP stat. If you don't, if you're not familiar with it, I will share with you the PDF on where you can find those mappings. So you click on SAMP stat, make sure this is clicked on and it's brown, then click and drag SAMP stat to the RDF term, and you see now the biological status is in blue. Would you like me to repeat, or is it clear? If anyone has any questions, would like me to repeat anything, please let me know. Or else otherwise we will proceed to the next step, that is authenticating your tool to allow it to upload data to our test environment, that is Sandbox. One thing I forgot to mention is that if you accidentally mapped, for example, Genos to the wrong term, you can always delete the RDF term here. So you select the URL and you erase it, and you see Genos is back to brown. You select it here. And for example, also you want to delete the mapping of species, you can click on the species column and then erase the URL and the RDF term. And you see now they are unmapped. Then you can map it again by clicking and dragging genus and species. Now here's a little tip or trick in order to make sure that you have done a correct mapping before you upload. You can double click on any cell, any data point here, just double click on it. For example, I'll double click on Esculenta. And this loads like the RDF terms with an example of the data that has been mapped to them. So this is the example of the data of one accession. So this is the institute code, accession number 18, acquisition date, etc., country of origin, etc., etc., just to make sure that, for example, you didn't map latitude to genus by mistake. So that latitude is not saying Lycopersicum. Genus is Maniot, species Esculenta, Samsat 300, etc. So I have a look here that things are looking fine, that the origin city is not accidentally mapped to Maniot. Just make sure that the acquisition date is actually a date, that it's not the institute code. Sometimes there can be some mishaps with the mapping. So this is just to make sure that it's all good. Then click OK. And then you want to authenticate. In order to authenticate, then please, in the tool, click on the settings button. This opens this dialog box. Can you please confirm that you can see this dialog box of the settings? Please confirm in the chat that you can see the dialog box called settings, where you can see the buttons Sandbox, Production, Custom, where you see also the buttons of Clear Tokens and Authenticate. Are you able to see this on my screen, or do you only see the uploader tool? Yes, okay, thank you, Grace. So in this dialog box here, I ask you to please click on the first radio button that you can see titled Sandbox, because this is where we'll be uploading today. Sandbox is our test environment. Click on Sandbox then, and directly click on Authenticate. Clicking on Authenticate will redirect you automatically to your browser, and it will open this link, this login to Sandbox. So in my email, I shared with you the login details. It's the username and password that you need to be typing here in this authentication link. So I already have them saved. This is the username that I shared with you and the password. I'll wait a little bit. I'll go slowly so that you guys can copy paste them from the email before pressing login. So you go to the email, you copy the username, paste it over here, and then copy the password with the exclamation point and paste it here. And then click on login. I'm having issues connecting. Has anyone else been able to connect? I will try this authentication again. I just logged out of Sandbox. I was already logged in, so I will go back to the tool. In this case, I'll click on Authenticate. This will redirect me here to the login page where I will use the username and password and click on Login. And you see here, done. So you read this done here. In this case, I'll go back to the tool of the Genesys uploader, and you see that the access token now is filled with characters. So this means that my authentication has been successful. Please don't add any letter or character to the access token here. Leave it as it is and close this dialog box. So the final step is, you see this airplane button here that says push. This is the button that allows you to upload your data. Please click on it. You see also another airplane button that says upload. Click on it, and you will see a dialog box that is asking you push data to Genesys server, https API sandbox.genesys.pgr.org. So I will say yes, but actually I will say no right now to demonstrate again. So after you authenticate, you click on the push button here, the airplane, then you click on it again and upload. And you get this dialog box, push data to Genesys server sandbox. I will click no and demonstrate it again, making sure that I still have the access token. I do have the access token. I can check it here. So I want to click on push, upload. Then I get this message asking me, are you sure you want to push data to Genesys server on sandbox.genesys-pgr.org? And I click on yes. And I should be getting these messages. So please do it on your side and let me know what kind of messages you receive. Maybe paste them in the chat. In the meantime, I will go to Sandbox, to the institute code that we are all uploading to. So this is the institute code we're all uploading to. And these are the accessions that have been uploaded to it. I see that some of you have already uploaded. You see CR 1516. I'll refresh. So far. You see my accessions are somewhere here. Coffee, CR. So I see it worked out for some of you, which is great. And this is how you upload accessions to Genesys. Now, what we want to do. We are already 20 minutes past our time, but I will quickly then show you, and you can revisit the YouTube video recordings later, but I will quickly show you the two remaining things, how you can update existing data and how you can erase. So in order to update existing data, and in this case, what I have in the Excel file in the updating sheet is the geographic coordinates. You see here, if I go back to Sandbox, to my accessions in this institute code, if I refresh and click on the map, I will be able to show, I will be able to see where my accessions fall geographically. And you see some of them are here in a straight line, but I want to update the accession numbers of a few of them. You know, others are here. Some of them are falling in Zambia. You see here, 3 accessions of them are falling in Zambia. Sorry. You see them in the green green buttons inside Zambia. And others are going from Niger all the way up to Algeria in a straight line. So I want to modify these accessions on the map. And you see here, I've highlighted those in Excel. I've highlighted what I want to change. So I have them here as inverted coordinates. You see the latitude, the longitude. So the latitude is supposed to be -13 for all of them. But for some reason, this was swapped at the last 6 accessions with the longitude. And the longitude here has been swapped with the latitude. So I want to invert this. You see it in the updating sheet in yellow. That's what I'll be doing. So in order to do that, I go back to the Genesys uploader tool and I double click on the sheet titled updating. I double click on this and this will open this sheet that is not mapped. It's unmapped. So what I want to do is I want to click auto map, make sure it's all looking good. You see here that I modified in the sheet titled updating the biological status. I gave it the correct title. It's titled SAMSTAT. So the automap has detected that automatically. I double click on any data point just to make sure that it's all looking good. Origin city Zambia, taxonomy, SAMSTAT, okay. And then I click on settings. I do not have to authenticate again because I already have an access token. So I close this window here, this dialog box, and I can go ahead and click push and upload. So making sure that I'm working in the sheet titled updating. push data to Genesys server, then I click yes. And I get here some messages about my uploads. The last one of the last one here is that the push has been done for this institute code. Size 15 accessions in 1 second, so it's done. So what I have done is that I've done an update only on the latitudes and longitudes, because all my other data is still the same. I only changed latitude and longitudes. And I want to go back to my overview. I see more of you are adding accessions, it's great. So how do I select the accessions out of all of these accessions, 282 for institute code that we are working on, this demonstration? I just want to select the accessions that I have uploaded. I'll show you a little trick on how you can do that. You can filter for these in Genesys. And the left-hand side in the filters panel, there's an accession number filter. If you click on it, you can see here that you can paste accession numbers. What I usually do is that I go to Excel and I select my accession numbers. Even if they are a formula, it's fine. You can select all of them here and click on Control-C, so you copy them. You go back to Genesys, and the accession number filter, you can paste them here. And you see they're pasted as individual accession numbers. Then you have to click on Apply Filters in order to filter out these accessions. So these are only the 15 accessions that I have uploaded. You can filter yours by doing the same, copying the accession number from the updating sheet, copying it, and then pasting it here, and then clicking on Apply Filters. Then you can go to the map, and you can see that now they are all in the same point. You know, all of them have the same longitude and latitude, which is the case here in my updating sheet. So if they all have the same longitude and latitude, they will all be showing in the same points, which is the case. You should be able to see the same with yours once you have pushed to Genesys the updated sheet with your accession numbers. If anyone has any questions so far, please type it in the chat or unmute your microphone. Otherwise, I will quickly demonstrate to you how you can then erase or even update more data to these already existing accessions in Genesys. So I want to then update the genus and the species. Sometimes in your gene bank, you might realize that your curators might realize that some species have been misclassified, misidentified. Maybe the genus Manihot, this accession number 17 is supposed to actually be Oryza sativa. Maybe all of them were supposed to be Oryza sativa. So you might need to reclassify the taxonomy. You might also need to erase some data. So how does that happen in Genesys? So you double click on the last sheet for demonstration, and this opens the updating-erasing sheet. You see here that I used the same accession numbers. I used the exact same accession numbers, but I changed all the genus and species names to match Oryza sativa. In the previous file that we worked on, only the first 4 were Oryza sativa, and the remainder were different species. For the same accession numbers now, I'm telling Genesys they're all actually Oryza sativa, and the rest of the data is empty. So the columns are present, but they have no data in them. This is basically instructing Genesys to erase the data for acquisition date, collecting source, biological status, etc. This is what the empty space means in Genesys. It means that there's no data for this accession, for acquisition date, and all the rest. So what I would do now is I would automap. So you see the tool has automatically picked up on all of the columns because they are all matching the MCPD standard. And I make sure in settings that I am still authenticated in Sandbox. I still have the access token here. So I don't do anything. I just click on close. And I click on push and upload. And now you will see some of the accessions will show an error, others will be updated. So I'll show you the difference. I'll click on upload. Yes, I'm sure I want to push the data. And I go back to Sandbox. I am still in the selection of my accession numbers. You see here the filters. I have filtered my own accession numbers. You can do the same with yours. I'll show you again how you can do that. So if you reset, you will go back to all the accessions in our test environment. But I want to only filter for my own, which are titled with my name. So what I have to do is that I go to Excel, to the sheet titled updating. I select all of these accession numbers and copy them. I go back to Sandbox, to the accession number filter here, and paste these accession numbers in this accession number filter. And then I click on apply. And you see this has filtered my 15 accessions. And you see here that the taxonomy has been updated. To Oryza sativa. And the rest of the data has been ignored. And if I go to the map, I won't see anything. So there's no more green button in Zambia. The coordinates, geographical coordinates have disappeared along with all the other like biological status, provenance, all the other data points. Why did this happen? Because in my latest file, the last file that I uploaded, the columns of these data points were present and they have been mapped. So you see them in blue, they are linked to this file, to their descriptor in MCPG, but the columns are empty. So this is then mirrored to Genesys. It's pushed to Genesys as an empty data point. The only thing you cannot erase with this method is the accession number itself. That would not work. So in order to erase an accession entirely from Genesys, this requires intervention from our side, the Genesys team. That's not something you are able to do yourself. But the rest of the information, this is how erasing the information would happen. So this basically wraps up today's demonstration. I hope that you found it useful. Please let us know if you have any questions in the chat. I will wait a few minutes. before closing this webinar for today. What I also advise you to do is perhaps use this login credentials, this username and password to authenticate through the tool, and maybe try uploading your own data. This is just our test environment, so nothing will be shown on the official Genesys website. But you could try at least maybe with a few accessions, see how it works with your own data, and send us your feedback to help desk. But if you want to do it only for test purposes, then please use this inst code ZZ002 instead of your own institute code. This is only for testing purposes.
Yes, Crystal?
Yes?
Yes, I have a question.
Yes, they do.
What if we want to push our own data? Specifically, my question is referring to the authentication. Here, we tick on the sandbox point. In our case, where will we be ticking? And how will it go further?
Yes. I advise you, if you want to push your own data to the test environment, I mean to Genesys, to the official website, before doing that, try it in the test environment. Just try it out. Use the same data that you have, but it has to be mapped to MCPD. So for example, if I go here, the date has to be in this format: year, month, day. The biological status has to be encoded values. So if you already have those, your passport data mapped to MCPD, then you can proceed with testing the upload to Sandbox using the same steps that I showed and the account that you already have. The only difference will be that in the institute code column, instead of writing the code of your own institute, you will write this code, ZZ002.
Okay.
If you see that this testing of this upload with your own data is all good and you like the result, then we will give you your account in the official Genesys website, like maybe it's dedeyu@gmail.com. You need to have this account already registered in Genesys so that we can give you the permissions to upload on behalf of your institute code, your official institute code, not this test one. And then you can apply the same steps with your data, with the institute code here being your own GeneBank code, and the upload then will work. If your data is not already in the format of MCPD, so if you're not using these coded values and these column names that are MCPD, you can watch YouTube videos that we have from last year's webinar that demonstrate to you step by step how you can transform your passport data to these formats of MCPD. I will share these links with all of you after the webinar.
Oh, okay, thanks very much. But I don't know, do you have any templates of this?
Yes, we do. We have templates, and I will share them also with all of you after the webinar. Actually, thanks for noting that.
Okay, thanks.
Yes. So just to wrap up, what are the next steps for you to do? So if you already tried this upload and it worked for you and you want to try doing it with your own data, then please, instead of using this data here, accession number, genus, species, etc., use your own. But the institute code, keep it as ZZ002 and do the authentication here using this account. So this demonstration account, that's the first step. This is just for you to try out how your own data behaves in our, with this tool. And if you like this result and you want to upload your own data to the official Genesys website, then you first need to make sure that you have a Genesys account. So instead of using the help desk at genesysbgr.org, maybe it would be your own email address. Send us what this email is, the email that you have registered in Genesys with. You can send us to help desk or to me or Mattia, asking us for permissions for your account to upload data to your institute code in the Genesys official website. We will give you then this permission to this account that you share with us, and you will be able to, instead of here authenticating to Sandbox, then you will be able to authenticate to production. How does that work? So you would, instead of authenticating to Sandbox with your account, you'll be able to authenticate a test account. You'll be able to use your own.